Hello and welcome, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you my favourite Ark Tames. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. In at number 10 we've got the Reaper, and come on, this does definitely deserve to be on the list. It is a cool xenomorph alien type creature that just fits into its map so well, and that is something which I really can say about this creature. It is just so well fitting to Aberration, and especially considering that Aberration, sorry, pronounced it wrong the first time, is the most popular map really among a lot of Ark players. I know Ragnarok's technically top of the roost, but Aberration still gets a lot of respect among the community, and it is very highly regarded, and obviously the Reaper is as well, especially considering the R Reapers do exist on Gen 2, and absolute cheese to tame. The atmosphere is kind of lost with these things on that map, but still they are the same great creatures. So taming methods is insanely cool. Essentially what you do is you get a Reaper Queen, and then you have to lower it down to I think under 1,000 health, and then from there, you're going to get yourself impregnated by the Reaper Queen. Then you get loads of XP to get 100% effectiveness, probably get some pheromone glands, so when the baby does actually emerge out of you, you know, it's not going to kill you, but, you know, it might kill you anyway. And then once you've tamed one, you've got yourself a beast of a creature that just does so much damage. It has a wealth of abilities. It can go underground. It can also slow down creatures with its tail attack. Sadly, the Reaper Queen has an ability where it will deal torpor to creatures. The Reaper King doesn't do this, and you can't tame Reaper Queens. That's the only real shame about these creatures. So continuing on the list, we have got the Crystal Wyverns. And why am I not putting just the generic normal Wyverns on, or just what my favourite Wyvern is in general? Well, I find with the Crystal Wyverns, the abilities that they have are much more imaginative, and also just as a creature in itself, they are just nicer to me, as they are much easier to tame, and again, those elemental abilities are fantastic, and in my opinion much better than the ones that you'll get on the generic fire, poison or lightning wyvern. Yes, obviously you've got the ice wyverns as well, but I don't really tend to use those things whatsoever. I really haven't done much with them. My personal favourite for Crystal Wyvern is the Blood Crystal Wyvern, by the way. This is the Tropical Crystal Wyvern that you're seeing right now, and obviously the Ember Crystal Wyvern does exist as well. They are all great wyverns for use, and their taming method is a lot simpler than just going into a trench, stealing an egg and raising it. Sounds easy on paper, but when there's loads of wyverns about, it can be really difficult. Essentially, you need to be level 60. Note runs really aren't very difficult to do, so you shouldn't have too much of an issue with this. Then after that, you're going to want to knock out a Crystal Wyvern to get the Primal Crystal, and then it's simply a passive tame. Find the Wyvern of your choice. There's a specific spot on its back where you can stand and you won't fall off while it's flying around, and just keep pressing E every time it tells you to feed it some crystal, and then boom, like that, you've got yourself a Crystal Wyvern of whatever type you've gone for. And also they require no saddle like any normal wyvern, so you can ride them just like that. Now, ever since the Shadowmane did release on Gen 2, it has been a fan favourite of many, and it definitely is a favourite of mine too. They are just so jam-packed full of abilities, you really can't diss them for all that they do as creatures. They are versatile, fast-moving creatures that do have the hydration buff, which actually the Crystal Wyvern has as well, although a little bit irrelevant considering that they are flyers and they can't really go into the water. But if you touch their wings on the water, then you can get that hydration buff. So maybe if you're in a combat situation, that might be useful to you. But either way, talking about the Shadowmane again, yes, they've got that hydration buff. They also have a pack buff. They can go invisible. I can't remember which one can out of male and female, but you do need both present at the time, I'm pretty sure. On top of that, they are really fast swimmers as well. So if you want to do the Moda with these things, it is actually a pretty nice creature to use, and actually that's all I've been using for the Moda boss fight recently, because I've been doing a little bit of Gen 1 stuff, and this has really been a good one for me. On top of that, they just deal loads of damage. They are really nice, versatile, easy, mobile creatures to use. The only downside is their taming method. So in at number 7, we have got the Desmodus, and come on, look at this vampire bat of sorts. It really is a cool creature just from its model design, but why is it such a favorite of mine? Namely, it has that gliding ability, and that is something which I really look for in a flyer. It makes them so much nicer and more versatile to use just as a general creature. These things can also farm blood bags for one of my creatures, which is also on this list as well, one of the creatures that I put on later on, and blood bags is gonna be the food of choice to tame that thing. You can probably guess what it is already, but that is also why I love these creatures a lot. And on top of that, they have Sanguine Elixir, which is just a cheat for tames. 30% of that tame done with just a click of a button. It is insane, really, what you can do with that. They can also just grapple onto any kind of wall, vertical surface, like a Tapijara, and they are much better than a Tapijara. I know there's some Tapijara fans out there, but still, this is just a much better creature. And if you have Field downloaded, because it is a free DLC after all, then really tame these things already, because they are just so good. In at number 5, we have got the Argentavis, and this creature really does deserve to be here. Come on, the nostalgia around this creature is just absolutely immense, and the amount of times that this tame has helped me out along my way in Ark really gives myself a much higher perspective on this creature. You might say the Desmodus is just a better flyer and a better creature overall, and largely I might agree with you on that, but still the RG holds the place in my heart for the better creature. Also, I do a lot of metal gathering as a PvE player, and the fact that it has weight reduction, things like metal, crystal and obsidian, make this thing an absolute dream to use, especially when paired with an Anki and a Dodic. You can just get so much of that metal gathering done. It is just nice to have, so nice to use, and generally is like a go-to creature that I think all of you out there should be using, because come on, the RG is available on pretty much every map besides Gen 1 and Arboration. Not sure if they're on Gen 2, but they're on the island and all those kind of basic maps. They're sort of basic, just very well-known creature that gets a lot of things done, and sometimes the simple one is the one that really works the best in a lot of given scenarios, and this is where the RG definitely does excel. They also do have a nice regen buff if they kill something, and on top of that as well, they do have a portable smithy as a saddle, so when I'm going caving, it's nice to repair all of my armor and weapons in the RG saddle, because I always have some metal in there, because those pesky Arthropleurs will always be breaking my armor and weapons. Now, the Bionics is one of those creatures where, again, it kind of does come down to nostalgia as well, and just how much I've used this creature. You might say the Shadowmane is a better creature for caving, and I might agree with you on that as well. I know I'm kind of repeating what I'm saying with the RG, but it's a similar thing. The Bionics is just one of those simple tames where it does everything for me, and it spawns on loads of maps. It's really accessible and really easy to tame, really easy to use. Not saying the Shadowmane isn't at all, and I really do love that creature, but this is still what I prefer as a general thing. If someone says, well, would you rather only use the Shadowmane or only use the Barry, I would probably still go with the Barry, which might seem a little bit crazy to you, but as a PvE player, it's quite chill to ride around on this thing, and I really just like it as a tame. They can jump around as well. They've got very reasonable health. They do quite a lot of damage as well, especially considering their size. That's why they can fit into pretty much any cave. And they are pretty mobile too, which I really do like to see in a carnivore. I know it's kind of a bit more of a pescivore, but still, you know, it falls under the same bracket. It is still a meat eater. Also, you did see they have a spin attack there as well, which can stun creatures up to the size of a Megalodon, which is pretty nice, isn't it? It's just a chilled, really easy to tame, basic knockout creature that does all the basic needs that I need it to do, and for that, I really love it. Coming in at number 3, we have got the Maywing. Come on, I love to travel around the Ark map, and this creature really does help me to do that with a lot of given success. They are fast, agile gliders that you can unlock from an absurdly low level. I think it's level 18 when you unlock their saddle. I usually get them at like level 21, level 22, because obviously you unlock trank arrows then, and they're much easier to knock out. If you've got a couple of signs and some trank arrows, there you go. That's the basic trap done for you. They're not going to break any of the trap as well, because they don't really tend to do that. They'll just try and run away, but they'll be stuck in obviously, and then you can just knock them out like that. Easy. You can even go for quite a high level one as well. I find they don't take too much time to tame, especially on just basic single player rates. I know that's 2.5 times official, but still, you know, I tend to not really play on official. And for you official players out there, I want to know actually, how long does it take for you to tame a creature like a Maywing? That's why I don't actually really do a lot of official, because I find it a little bit daunting. I've done it in my past, a lot of like 2015, 2016 stuff was all on official settings, but I do like the boosted settings because I'm less of a let's get on the grind person nowadays. They're also just great as a portable theme shop. They can gather loads of berries too. Really nice, well-rounded creatures and very deserving of the number 3 spot. And at number 2, we have got the Stalker, and I just love this creature as an underwater exploration mount and as a general travel mount. And over the past few months, it has really become one of my favorites, and little creatures have done that in a time frame like the Stalker. Yes, I've been using it ever since Gen 1 came out, but I haven't been using it to the extent that I've been using it currently in terms of just like what I use it for now, until, you know, quite recently. They are the top underwater mount for me. They are fast, agile, they can skate across the top of the water. The Maven can do that too, but you can also see the aggros of all the creatures, and in a low visibility environment like the underwater space of Ark, because it tends to not be the most visible thing in the world, it's really nice to see. You can evade danger with absolute ease, and then you don't have to dismount said underwater creature when you get onto land. You can just keep going around and traveling around the map with immense speed on these things. And this is actually kind of when I started using the Stalker, when this B-roll was taken, so I'm a little bit shaky in terms of all of the gliding around stuff, but you know, I'm a little bit better now. I should probably re-record some of these B-rolls so it looks like I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit more for the creatures that I'm using a lot more nowadays, because my stuff has changed a little bit since I've been making these B-rolls, because they're a little bit old nowadays. I should update them all, and obviously I will update them all when we go into full ASA mode where all the maps are out as well, and obviously Ark 2 stuff, if that's even a thing that will ever release in my lifetime. Who even knows at this point? But yeah, really fast, agile creatures, love them to bits, love their taming method, love their model design, really love how they move around. They are just so versatile, agile creatures, great in the water, great on the land, great for attacking, great creatures. And in number 1 is the Dinos. These are just my favourite Ark creatures, and over the past few years, I've been kind of bouncing back between the Carno and this creature, and I know the Carno is really something which you probably wouldn't expect to be my favourite Ark creature out there, but I've really been loving that creature. I'll give it an honourable mention because I've used it for literally like 8 years now, however long since Ark has even been released back in like June of 2015, something around that time. I think it was released into early access. Like, honestly, insane creature, love that thing to bits. But the Dinos is taking the crown today because I think it really does deserve to be on the list for many reasons. It can deal bleed damage to bosses. It is an extremely fast, agile mount that also has the pack buff. No kind of water traveling abilities in terms of all of that, but the Stalker handles all of that for me. I don't need it. And then for underwater battles, I would use something like a Shadow Mane or Bionics would be a very nice suggestion as well for the Moda, but I rarely do that boss. I'm just doing it a little bit more now because it's on my mind a little bit more, because I'm playing through Gen 1 again, because I'm just refreshing my mind and all these things. I'm kind of gradually replaying through all the maps, and I'm at Gen 1 at the moment, so it'll be Gen 2 after that, because I've played Extinction, now I'm on Gen 1, you know, thus continuing on like that. But yeah, they're also really agile traveling mounts as well, very mobile for a carnivore, and I love the size of these things as well. Small, they can get around so easily, don't take any fall damage. As you can see, they can scale any kind of wall or vertical surface. Really great caving creatures as well, actually, because of their size. Truly the best Ark creature in my opinion. But anyway, that is the end of today's video. I really hope that you've enjoyed this one, as I definitely enjoyed making it. As always, comment down below what is your favourite Ark tame, and if you didn't agree with this list, then put your 10 favourite Ark tames in the comments down below. I'll see you all later.